This is the Crowdcrux Crowdfunding Podcast with Sal Briggman, where we cover everything you need to know to launch a successful crowdfunding campaign. We speak with proven entrepreneurs who've raised money from the crowd and want to teach you how to do the same. Stay tuned because we're about to reveal how to launch your dream project. With your host, Sal Briggman.
Before we get started with this podcast episode, I want to take a second to introduce you to my friends at Fulfillrite. If you need help shipping out your Kickstarter or Indiegogo perks or rewards, Fulfillrite is the absolute best company for you. I've been working with them for a while and I can vouch for their services. They make it dead simple and take all of the headache out of shipping out all of those boxes, all of those orders to your backers and your customers. If you want to check them out, go to fulfillrite.com at fulfillrite.com. Hey guys, welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified Podcast. My name is Salvador Briggman. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of time here with me today. And we are going to get into a bit of a different episode because we're actually having another service provider in the crowdfunding industry, and we're talking to him today. This is the founder of Hyperstarter, and he's going to give his very candid, very unedited feedback to you when it comes to the service providers in this industry, things that he does, also the lessons and the tips that he has from having worked with many different campaigns over the years, and some of his thoughts, quite frankly and quite honestly, I think, on this industry, the crowdfunding industry. So if you've ever been interested in like hiring someone to help with your project, or you've ever been interested in learning a little bit more about the crowdfunding industry itself in terms of service providers and vendors and people who can help you with this process, I think today is going to be a good episode for you for that reason. Also to start thinking and brainstorming, what are the elements of a campaign that I can handle? Like maybe I'm really good with making the product, but I need some help on marketing. Or maybe I'm really good at marketing, but I need some help with the manufacturing side. I think that spotting your blind spots is one of the pivotal hallmarks of every successful entrepreneur, and understanding how to sort of compensate for those blind spots with a team around you. When we were kind of growing up, we were always taught that you have to be good at everything. Like you have to get an A+ in math, and an A+ in science, and an A+ in English. And that's kind of how we were brought up, that you have to be good at everything. This is how I was brought up. But as I've grown and as I've matured, I've realized that you actually don't have to be good at everything. You only have to be good at one thing, and you have to do that one thing really, really well. And what you can do if you have a business is you can bring in teammates and you can bring in other people that can help compensate for some of your weaknesses. And actually, by doing your weaknesses, actually, when you're younger, I think it's good to try things out and to improve your weaknesses and these things. But as I get older, I'm like, hey, this thing could take me like hours to figure out. Why don't I just pay someone to do this? Or why don't I just pay someone to do this aspect of the podcast or this thing or editing or whatever? I think that every single entrepreneur has to be a great team builder, in addition to having a vision that is compelling, something that they want to wake up to in the morning, and something they can rally other people around. If you are interested in bringing me on your team, if you ever thought like, wow, that would be so cool if Sal was like an advisor to my company, or if I was able to bounce ideas off of him, or even just get him to look over my strategy, my project, the plan that I have for a crowdfunding campaign, as well as point out maybe some gaping holes or some things that I need to be thinking about before I hit that launch button to make sure that I don't fall into one of those major pitfalls, you can go and book a one-on-one coaching call with me. And this is an hour-long intensive call where afterwards, I give you some action items there, some things to do, maybe some homework as well. And I really review and take in your project and assess the things that you need to be doing better, the things that you should be looking into, ways that maybe I can also help you going forward with the campaign. We really have a very intensive coaching call, and I would urge you to bring your questions and also to take notes throughout the call, because a lot of people find that that's very helpful for them when we're doing these intensive coaching calls. So if you're interested in booking this one-on-one call with me, it is super simple to do. All you got to do is tell me a little bit of information about your project, and you can book it ASAP. The link to book that call is crowdcrux.com/coaching. That is crowdcrux.com/coaching. That link will take you to a form that you can fill out, and you can go through that and tell me a little bit more about your project. Again, that link is crowdcrux.com/coaching. Hope you enjoy today's podcast episode. It is coming up right after this. Hey guys, welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified podcast. On today's episode, we have the privilege of speaking with one of the pillars in the crowdfunding industry and community, Giles, who's the founder of Hyperstarter. He's been in the game for a while, has learned a lot, and he's bringing his A game here today and sharing all of that with you. Giles, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much for having me. It's great to talk to you.
For those of us who are not familiar with you or what you do, can you just bite-size explain to the audience a little bit about that?
Okay, so I'm the founder of Hyperstarter. We've been around since 2016. And we started out by providing a free-to-use tool on our site that checks campaign pages. And then what was happening afterwards, where people would say, okay, I used your tool. What else can you do? And since then, we've worked on over 300 campaigns, raised 8.5 million, and worked on projects such as the British Invention of the Year, Virgin Voom runner-up, and projects like the Neck Hammock, which raised nearly $1 million.
And when it comes to helping these campaigns, what is it you're doing for them specifically?
Right. So, well, each campaign is different. So each one has a fresh approach. So I usually do an informal Skype tool like this and say that what have you guys done already, and just expand and develop what they've done. So whether they have an audience already or whether they have contacts, looking at the campaign page, looking at the social media just to get the word out there. But the main focus is on looking at their competitors, see who they connected with, even the words they used, and then what we do is approach those influencers, sites, writers in a similar way, and that's how we get campaigns noticed. So we do a bit of promotion, but now we've sort of come into the tangible work now, where we've more of they give us a login details, and we actually go in and log in and change their Kickstarter page or work on their video or things like that. But that's just happened lately. Mm-hmm. But yeah, ideally we do the promo stuff.
Yes, I've been watching a lot, man, on my forum, and just also the stuff you've been doing around the industry. How did you actually get interested in helping with these different campaigns?
Yeah, it started out before Hyperstarter, where I had another site. It was a gift site, and people were approaching me to list their Kickstarter campaigns, and I was turning them away. And I was saying, look, I need an actual physical gift that we can actually list on our site, and if we promote it that way. And I was turning these guys away, but it was happening so often that I actually looked into Kickstarter and noticed these campaigns and said, maybe I could spend my time looking at how these campaigns work and who they connect with, how they get funded, and go into it in further detail. And that's how it came about.
Mm-hmm. When it came to also researching that, I think Kickstarter has changed a lot in the last few years. So at the time when you had entered the industry, I'm sure you had an idea of like how crowdfunding works, what it's like, how you actually run a campaign. What's one thing that's changed in, I guess, your perspective of how this whole crowdfunding process works?
I think I'm a bit concerned in that there's a lot of people who have taken note of Kickstarter and crowdfunding, and they've come on board, whether that's other agencies or different types of people that say they can help. And I'm a bit worried because before we had like a smaller group of us sort of agencies, sites and helpers and that sort of thing. Now it's blown up. And I think maybe campaign owners are more worried. Or another thing is that they're actually setting their targets, their goal quite low. And that's one thing that I've noticed over the years. Mm-hmm. And so it's, I guess, a more realistic goal rather than guys who say, look, I want to raise $1 million and this is what we're going to do. They've set it quite low and they want to try and reach that goal quite quickly and go on from there. But again, another thing that concerns me about Kickstarter is, and that's changed, is that the different types of CEOs that they've got there is a bit of a worry that it seems to be rotating quite a lot. And you do wonder that, if this is a platform that we're supporting and that, that they need to get their own house in order. And it's just something that's going on in the background. So it's a lot of new things that are going on.
So let's unpack a few of those a little bit. And I also want to get into your thoughts on agencies and services and all of that later in the episode. But for now, when it comes to setting a low goal, what do you mean by that is a concern for you?
I think when you set a low goal, it is more achievable, of course. But I think when I speak to campaigners, they say to me, look, this isn't our real goal. This isn't what we want to do. We need to achieve maybe 3 times more as this, more as it. But they have doubts in themselves, and maybe it's due to lack of pre-launch preparation that they actually say that, you know, even if we do reach our goal, that's not what we want to get. We want to do more. And that's another point is, you've probably got stats on your side that a lot of these projects don't get made or they get delayed. And, you know, if you've got a campaign that's saying that, you know, even if we reach our goal, that's not enough, you do worry that the actual backers may not get their products in, you know, on time or even at all. And then again, that hurts crowdfunding in general. So yeah, it's a bit of a mess sometimes.
I guess what you're saying is that it's important to set a goal that's the lowest possible that you need, because it's obviously easy to achieve, but also not so low that you can't deliver on your promises and you can't actually create a good high quality product.
Yeah, no, you're right on there. I think when I approach campaigners, I say, look, set a goal which you can realistically achieve, ideally by, say, day 3. And if you can reach that goal quite quickly, then of course within Kickstarter, when people approach your page and say, oh, look, these guys are, you know, overfunded already. And it's at the end of the day, it's all about trust as well. Okay, we trust them. They've reached their goal. So maybe I could, enter my details on Kickstarter and support this thing. So it's all sort of interconnected.
Yeah, but I do think, as you said, even getting overfunded, that is a problem to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Because then you have to deliver on all those rewards. And if it's not a killer experience for your backers, then your brand really suffers. And that's why you're going on the platform itself. You know?
Yeah, it's something that I can't really get involved in. You know, when they bring us on, and we can talk about how we work, but when they bring us on, we're on for such a limited, short time that we work on a project and then we're out and work on another one. You do sort of wonder what would happen, you know, once they do reach their goal and overfund and the campaign's ended. You think, well, wonder what did happen to that product. But that's more to do with Kickstarter side, and I'm more to, you know, I'm one of the guys that helps get campaigns, you know, overfunded and promoted. So there's only so much I can do on my side. But yeah, it's something that's in the background.
When it comes to getting in the industry in 2016. How would you say that you have personally grown since starting this new company and also this new approach?
Yeah. Well, the approach was also all by accident, really. I wanted to provide a tool, and I had no, you know, if you go on my site now, it's free to use. I don't expect anything back from you know, campaigners that test on our site. And from then that, I've used the approach, and I've learned this over the years. Actually, it's taken a while. You know, I'm one of the older persons involved in Kickstarter. I'm over 40, so my approach would be, you know, to tell people directly. You know, maybe they don't want to hear it. What, you know, how their campaign should do, what they should do next. Maybe even not do their campaign. It just depends upon what. The situation, and being direct and you know,
how would you say that you've grown since starting the company? You know, whether that's whether that's having to figure out how to assemble a team or work on new skill sets. Like, how have you grown?
Yeah, I've worked on new skill sets where I wasn't involved in the Facebook side, and lately I have, and that was mainly because I was based in China and Facebook wasn't working for me. So it's one of those things where, look, I had no clue on the social media side to say, well, you know, contact someone else who could do that. So the skill set's improving that. But I guess that my main skill is to dealing with campaign owners, is how you approach them, how you talk to them, you listen to them, and just get past all the BS really, and just, you know, that would probably be my main skill set of just talking to campaigners what they want, and also telling them to be realistic, and also thinking of their backers, approaching them in that way.
Have you always been an entrepreneur?
I've been doing it since 2003. And after that, I actually went into artwork. I was a painter. I was a full-time painter selling my work in Hong Kong.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I guess, you know, being such an individual, I've got no brothers or sisters, and, you know, I just took the leap and went out there and did the work. And but I've also had a background in web design. I used to work for government, and did their websites. So I sort of combined it where I was doing my work. And then, I had a baby on the way at the time, and I couldn't do my oil paints because my wife was worried that it affect the baby, the pregnancy. So, I went back over to the computer work and just stuck with it, really. But yeah, I had 2 separate careers.
Happy wife, happy life, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yes. Got it.
When it comes to that, I mean, you're sort of like a combination, it seems, between like a creative type, being an artist and a designer, and then also the entrepreneurial side, which is having your own company, having your own project, your own hustle. What made you sort of transition to like the marketing side? Because most of these campaigns need really help with the marketing engine sort of that runs it.
I think it's to do with my approach. My background is nowhere near connected to business or even using a computer. I didn't use a computer properly until I was 25. So I didn't know anything. But the way I approach things is that you need to be direct, and maybe I could take this from my painting side as well. Be direct, show exactly what you're offering, explain it well, and you can do the same with a painting. But also I like to, when I talk to campaigners, think of the visuals. So I say, look, when you've got a campaign page, imagine someone scrolling down quite quickly or using their phone, and you need to stand out with the visuals as well, whether that would be imagery, people enjoying your product, people being happy, those sort of emotions, which you can also describe when you're doing a painting as well. And that's sort of my approach. It's quite a unique approach. I'm not sure where they teach it in business school, but it works. It works for me, and it's how you connect with people and going on from there.
What would you say inspires you or motivates you?
I'm motivated by Kickstarter and inspires me because I work on such varied projects. These aren't long-term ones for me. I work on maybe 2 or 3 a week. It keeps my fascination, my interest. So this is where it comes from, really. And also another great thing that you probably touched upon is you meet so many different varied entrepreneurs. You meet them at all different levels, and you talk to people who have raised, I spoke to someone the other week who raised $1 billion, $3 billion during their banking job. And they said, look, we can overfund our app, but we just want to see where our audience is. And I was like, geez, that's the most I've ever, speaking to someone who's raised so much.
That's a lot of money, knowledge.
Yeah. You
give me some of that. Give me some of that.
Yeah, I know. Especially when they tell you they can do it themselves. They're like, well, what do you need me for? But no, they just wanted to test the audience, and they just want to see if their app had some traction on there. And all different types. It's great.
Yeah, I also think there are a lot of people in just starting your own business kind of niche that really kind of overhype themselves a little bit. Yeah. I'm not saying that person is necessarily, but all the time I'll meet, entrepreneurs. I think it's awesome if you have a really strong vision. But at the same time, you got to have your feet on the ground. You got to be realistic about it, and also executing that plan. Because so many of our ideas just kind of die in our head, and they go uncreated, or the first prototype never gets out there. It's kind of really disheartening, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's people's sort of concentration levels as well. At the beginning, they get so excited and they say, we're going to do this and this. And it sort of wanes over time, and they just get disheartened, and they think it's never going to work. And, I've had a lot of, I guess you learn from your failures. I've had a lot of failed projects, and I learned from those, and I learned how to treat customers, how to treat potential anyone to do with business. And it's something that you learn over time. It's not really something that people can teach you. So it's
learning in the trenches. Learning in the trenches. I think one of the things that makes me so passionate, or I guess inspired, is that you see some of these products that are really freaking cool, like really passionate entrepreneurs, really neat technology and gadget and gizmo, but for whatever reason, they've really just messed up the messaging, or like they don't know how to communicate it or talk about it. And this product, which could help so many people, is not getting out there. It's kind of frustrating, I think. Like, you created a better product than the competition, but for some reason, the marketplace isn't responding to that. And that can be so frustrating, I think.
Yeah, it can be. You speak to them, and it depends on who they've got on their team. You've got the creative types who may not think of the business side, and you've got the business types who just think of the numbers. And you need the right sort of combination of a team to grow and develop. And get the word out there better, and it's how you communicate, whether that's, for me, it's, of course, it's the pre-launch stage. You need to know exactly who your potential backers are, whether they're going to support you on day one, when they know when you're going to launch, and go on from there, really. Yeah.
When it comes to your career, it seems like you made this transition into Facebook, and I was kind of curious, why is it that you decided to add that to your skill set and also the way that you help projects?
It came about where people would say, could you just have a look at our Facebook ads? And I'd say, sorry, I can't even log into Facebook. So that was the point. I was in China and it's blocked over there. So I was like, well, I can't even do it. And now I'm noticing, the campaign owners trust me enough and our team to actually go in and log in and look at what they've done already and just improve it. And I guess it's to do with the message of, how you've got a small, a couple of paragraphs to explain what you're doing, and an image or a video. It's how you attract people's attention that way. But what I'm noticing, I wouldn't call myself a Facebook specialist. I always say that when I'm talking to others, but it's how you convey that message. But you sort of got to make an ad look not like an ad. That's what I've sort of noticed. That's the sort of main thing, and define your audience. And it is a whole new thing.
What would you say is one of the biggest mistakes, aside from making something look too commercial? What would you say the biggest mistake is with Facebook ads you see?
I think people relying too much on Facebook ads. And also people set a budget quite low. I think someone said, look, I'll spend say $10 or and hopefully we can build something like that. And what I realized with Facebook ads is you need to do a lot of testing and spending quite a lot of money, and then maybe just as you're giving up, then you notice. That's the way it seems to be. And we provide an alternative to say Facebook ads, and I always say that as well, that we're not trying to spend money to make money. Ideally you'd want to approach people who are really interested in what you do and have the same vision and support you in that way, and that's the way to get them on board. But again, that takes time as well.
How do you actually do that?
Ideally you would do that through I'll give you one of my secrets. You do that through social media. You actually grab their attention through a tweet, and instead of giving them a long pitch, which you would in an email, you actually grab their attention and say, I saw you featured these guys. We're doing something similar. Can we get in touch, or can we send you a DM? And how you do that is you're initially getting in touch with a writer who's written about something similar, and then you're approaching them in such a way where they could say yeah, sure, or not, and you just go on from there. At least when they've checking their inbox, they've already remembered you from previously, and you've got your foot in the door, and then you just go on from there. Like, I'll send them my details. Can we send you a test unit? So yeah, that's a great way of doing it.
I had to interrupt this podcast episode because I want to introduce you to my friends at The Gadget Flow. Their product discovery platform reaches 22 million people per month. They've helped more than 5,000 crowdfunding campaigns thus far, and they have a social media following of more than 700,000 followers. If you want to gain access to their marketplace and list your own product, you can go to thegadgetflow.com/submit and list your project today. So you're kind of referring to the PR aspect of the campaign there, like doing the outreach to influencers and people who might be willing to feature the product in that way.
Yeah, but also thinking of a way of being direct, and you need to, if you're doing this PR side, you need to actually think of these writers. You don't think, I've got this great product and I'm going to tell them they're going to love it. You put yourself in their shoes, the writer's shoes, and think, geez, these guys get hundreds of these similar pitches every single day. What can I do differently? And you just need to be direct and explain what you're doing, explain the benefits, and that's how it works. That's how you get featured. I've got campaigns featured on all the main sites, TechCrunch to Uncrate, which was a huge one to get on because it's all sort of interconnected with Mashable and Metro. But yeah, that's the way it works, really.
And you think that when it comes to PR, these journalists, like, you don't think they're burnt out yet? Because I was recently moderating a panel, and one of the common sort of takeaways was a lot of people were saying, man, journalists just don't want to write about campaigns anymore. No. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I agree. And that's something connected to what you asked earlier, how things have changed over time, that they don't. And one example is watch campaigns. Now, I've worked on a lot of watches before, and now the writers, the bloggers who brought a lot of traffic and potential backers to watches now want to be paid. So they've realized that a lot of watch campaign owners are contacting them, and majority of these sites just want to be paid. So you have to sort of approach it that way. Say, well, okay, you haven't got much of a budget to pay $1,000 or more just to get a small blog write up. You need to approach general sites maybe and go on from there. So yeah, that's changed over the years.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk to you a little bit about like storytelling and those different aspects. But before we do, man, dish the secrets. What are your thoughts on the agencies and like the services in this industry? Because you have a bit of a different approach there. Yeah. What are your thoughts on how the industry is kind of laid out for creators?
Okay, so many years ago, I think you featured us as being one of top 9 Kickstarter marketing agencies, and others referred to us or this group of other agencies as a sort of a Kickstarter mafia. We're a small group of individuals who know each other. It's true, we all sort of know each other. We all work in different ways. But if you actually able, like I mentioned before, that I've been able to log in as a Kickstarter campaign, log into their details, and you can actually see a whole load of junk and spam emails of people getting contacted. We can feature you on this site, or you think, where do they get these details from? It seems some are even at draft stage. You think, well, how are these people pitching you? How contacting you? Where are they finding your details from? And it's a bit of a worry. It's a worry that maybe someone came across an idea and say, well, look, Kickstarter's taking off. Maybe it's something I can get involved in. I had a marketing background, but it doesn't work that way. Kickstarter and the crowdfunding functions differently than other products that you'll be promoting. So yeah, it's a worry that people get scammed. You see it on the forums, and you just need to be.
Yeah, we have a section on that too.
Yeah, you do your research. You look on things like Trustpilot and just do a quick search and look for scams, those sort of things, and approach campaign owners and approach these agencies and ask what the projects they've worked on, ask for direct references. That's the way we work. Yep.
I think it's really hard too, because like I've even had people approach me, be like, hey Sal, someone posted on Kickstarter Forum and they're claiming all these things and it's not true. They're just a disgruntled customer. And it's really hard to tell who's telling the truth, It
is. And also it depends upon, okay, so you've got an agency and they're established, but because they've got so many different individuals that are working within that agency, you don't really know who's working on your project. It may be someone who's no experience of working on campaigns or within your niche. So that's why we keep it quite small in ours. The majority of the time I'm working on the campaigns, and I pick and choose what I want to work on. People find us through word of mouth. We don't do any promotion at all. We don't no paid promotion or anything like that. Yeah. So yeah, we're quite lucky in that way that people have found us, and we've had some good reviews from campaigns that we've worked on. That's how we work on it. Yep.
I think also on that front, like talking about how people within the organization and like understanding all of that, I won't name names, but I distinctly remember how I had to like ban someone from my forum because the CEO of their company was saying some pretty nasty stuff online that was not true and like false, basically. And they're like, why are you banning me, man? Like, I'm like, you're attached to the company, but like, I can't, it's hard to make that distinction. Like, I have nothing against you, but it's so hard, I think, and convoluted for a creator to figure that out. Do you have any thoughts on how they could find people who are reputable that also are willing to work on their project and also are, a good fit for them?
I think it's what I mentioned before about just doing your research. And you're investing a lot of money. You're investing in agencies who take a percentage or a fixed fee, or even guys that just charge you a fee and then decide if they want to work with you or not. That's the wrong thing to do. I think when you talk to them as well, and you ideally have a phone conversation with them and actually find out their motivation, how they're going to help, put it all in writing, and how they can benefit you. And I think having those talks really help. And you have guidelines when you're going to get things done or what you're going to do, and also just look at what projects they've worked on. And instead of them saying, I worked on this project, well, can you give me a direct reference? What I like to do is get the actual campaigner to tweet about us with it, from their official account. So that's something that I can, it's got a URL associated with it, and I can actually say, look, these guys actually said this about what we did. And then, it's not just me making up stories.
Yeah.
Just do your research. Yeah.
I would also say that being realistic about your budget and what you can get for your budget. If you have $100 or $200 to spend, you're not going to be able to hire a full service campaign manager. It doesn't make sense. So being realistic about the budget you have to spend and also what that can get you, I think is really important. When it comes to some of these projects you've been working on, can you tell us a story of maybe one creator you've helped? What product did they have? How did you help them? How did that story go?
I like what I use. I use a direct quote on one of my business cards, and it's from Onak Canoes, and that was one I did at the beginning. And they used an agency that wasn't established within crowdfunding, and they got them up to say 100k euros, which was impressive because Onak is this great product with a folding sort of canoe, and and that was as far as they could take it. And then I sort of reworked their press release, made it more Kickstarter friendly, explained about the early birds and rewards and the prices, and transferred that into US dollars as well because they were using euros. And then just started the promotion, and they got overfunded easily, and they've raised another 110k or something with the 5 days that we worked on that project. So that's the one I'm most proud of, and I also like that project as well. I was thinking, well, folding origami inspired canoe, that's really cool. And kept in touch with the owners on there and give them advice on things that they're doing. So I really like that one.
Do you have another project you could share with us of someone that you've helped?
The British Invention of the Year, which is the eFoldy, which is another folding thing. This is a folding scooter, and again, that was at the start where it was a woman who approached me and said, look, she doesn't know anything about how to promote this product, what audience do we target, and because it's a folding scooter, she was targeting people who are, want to go on the go. They could walk around and they think, oh, I'm a bit lazy, let's drive around instead on this scooter. But instead I said, look at people with disabilities, how they can benefit. Can they actually get their leg over it and do it? Yeah, sure, it's lightweight. Okay, they can take it with them. And then, she then took that approach. We launched a crowdfunding campaign on Crowdfunder. That was what we did. And then she took that further and got in touch with Richard Branson, and she was a runner-up. Richard Branson. So got in touch with those guys, and then she was a runner-up. So she got to meet Richard Branson from starting a crowdfunding campaign. So it's worked out well for her, and I'm now involved in eFoldy version 2. So we're looking to launch that on Kickstarter, but It's a work in progress. Yeah,
all the folding products you got there.
Yeah.
That's nice, dude. That's awesome, I think, too, the way that you're able to sort of get these people in the door with some larger publications. And it seems like, people, they have something they've been working really hard on. They just don't know how to present it, and they don't really know how to make it, as you said, Kickstarter friendly, and also the right people as well to go out there and to try to get this in front of, with the right kind of ask and pitch and such. Yeah. I want to ask you here about, your services as well. And could you just really bite-size kind of clue the listeners into how they can learn more about that and what you offer there?
Okay, so go to hyperstarter.com, and then you're able to test your Kickstarter URL if it's live on our page.
What does that mean exactly?
So you get your URL, it's a live URL from Kickstarter, kickstarter.com/project, and you enter that on our homepage, and then it spits out some results in real time about how to improve your page. And we don't capture emails or anything like that. We log in or anything like that. So it just gives information. But what also that just being open, that it helps people to contact us and say, look, I've used your tool. Okay, great. What else can you do? And you can list on our site. I think we've got social media following about 20k followers total, and then we've also got newsletter, which is about 6k subscribers on there, and or we do the hands-on work. but that also depends upon, what you've done already. And then we talk about how many days we can work on a campaign, rather than say, look, we'll put you under a long-term contract. You need to give us a percentage. We don't do anything like that. We just work per day.
So when it comes to some of these tips or advice that you have regarding the page, is there any commonalities you see, like people missing out on something with their page?
Yeah, they either have too little images or too many images, or too little text or too much text. It's a balance of, you don't want a page where you have to scroll down forever to find out exactly what you're doing, but you also need to explain quite clearly, whether it's through visual or bullet points, or make everything clear about exactly what you're doing, how it benefits the backer. And then, if you want to surprise, we're also doing this, or if we get overfunded, this is what we're offering, and you put that at the end, and you think, right. And you also think of a backer. What when a potential backer comes to your page, what do they want? Are they going to back straight away? Are they going to think about it? Are they going to come back? And you can sort of see that through the stats as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you can use ads for that, I guess.
I think also the continuity of design as well. Yeah. And the big promise, that's what I always go back to, is what is the promise that your product has? What is the solution that you're promising to be no more in the customer's life? Or what's the lifestyle you're promising for someone?
Yeah. But also, I also look at the trust factor. So I say, okay, if you're a designer, where have you featured previously? And I've had guys who work for Disney and they won the Red Dot award, and they didn't even mention it on their page. I said, you should mention that. Use the logos, make it stand out. And they say, okay, we've got more backers because of it. I say, of course, because they may know you, but they know for the companies that you've worked with or worked for. And then, it's all about trust. And say, okay, I trust this guy. I trust Kickstarter. I'll make a pledge.
Mm-hmm. Very well said. My last question for you is, are there any other tools that come to your mind that creators should be checking out aside from Hyperstarter that you think can help with their campaign?
There's some interesting ones out there. The new ones, there's guys, I guess Kick Tracks, and there's guys like Bigger Cake who are doing something where they're looking at data, or looking at predictions. I guess about Kick Booster, who may offer something to be an affiliate or to help promote campaigns. Mm-hmm. I guess about MailChimp, who can get the word out there through collecting emails or just telling your audience exactly what you're doing. But what we're looking to do is improve what we're doing, but make it into a version 2. So we're looking to expand upon, giving this knowledge about where to feature sites. I guess it's like a demo. What is it called? A mods tool for people.
Yeah. So the marketing tool mods, you mean?
Yeah. But for crowdfunding, awesome. That's what we're looking to do. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you, all of your contributions on the forum. Brilliant. And all of the work that you've been doing in the industry. And also, I think you're doing it with a great set of values in mind. Yeah. I think you have the right values there. And the work that you're doing as well is helping people get in front of people that they could never do before, getting into media publications, and really upping and leveling the game. I think that's really what we should all be trying to improve those success rates, and all trying to help creators get that product out there so they can then impact all these customers out there in the world. So I agree. Congratulations, man, on all the work you've been doing.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. We should have linked you up in the description, and we'll have to have you back, maybe talking about some of the lessons you've learned from some more projects, and we can go from there.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Let me tell you about our latest sponsor, SendPro Online by Pitney Bowes. Shipping can be complex. Things can get really confusing really fast. With SendPro Online, it's easy to save time and money no matter what you send, from letters and packages to overnights and flats. You can easily compare USPS, UPS, and FedEx in an all-in-one online tool. You can print shipping labels and stamps directly from your printer. You can even track all of your shipments and get email notifications when they've arrived. SendPro Online is only $14.99 a month, and listeners can get a free 30-day trial when you visit pb.com/crowdcrux. That's pb.com/crowdcrux. Experience the convenience of SendPro Online for yourself when you sign up for a free 30-day trial. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Crowdfunding Demystified podcast. My name is Salvador Briggman. This is my passion. This is the reason why I wake up every single morning, is to bring education, techniques, and tools to you so that you can actually smash it. You can hit a home run when you go live with your crowdfunding campaign. You can not only raise money, but you can start the business of your dreams. And hopefully you can look back on this experience and be like, wow, I did so much in like those 2 months or those 3 months where, I really got together this campaign. I got super serious. I made so many improvements. It's like, damn, I'm surprised in my own self. I have so many people, so many success stories who've come to me and been like, Sal, crowdfunding was incredible, but what I loved so much actually was that this project made me get serious for once in my life about this dream. It made me actually think about the timeline. It made me get together the video and the campaign text and really start to work with teammates. And it was the beginning. It's the crux. It's the platform in which I then went out there and I actually grew my online business. I think crowdfunding is so special, not only for the funding you get, not only for the validation and the followers and the customers, but because it's an incredible way to coalesce yourself and to coalesce your team around this specific project and around this goal. I can't tell you how important that is. All too often in life, things are happening all the time. We're looking to go on vacations, we're looking to do different projects and hobbies, and we tend to put things off. It tends to be 6 months go by or a year go by, and we're like, oh man, I really wish I had launched. I was supposed to do that. I keep pushing it off. This is just so big. This is such a huge thing that I just can't wrap my head around. I really need to get started. And every time you do, you maybe make a little bit of progress and then you kind of fall back into your old ways. I found that one of the best ways to sort of set you on track and to set a timeline for your project is to do coaching, to do a one-on-one coaching call with me, to set aside a little bit of time to think about this project more seriously, to really get into the strategy that's going to go behind this launch, to even understand if this product is a good fit for Kickstarter, and to use that coaching call also to think about, okay, if I want this to happen, what date am I going to launch this at? What is realistic? What is the amount of funding I'm going to be looking for? How am I going to get the word out there? How can Sal help me? What are the tools and resources that I can make use of? I use these coaching calls to set people on that deadline, because without a deadline, let's be honest, we're all going to put things off until tomorrow. Without a deadline, you're not serious about something. A deadline creates a little bit of fear in you, which is good, creates a little bit of excitement, and it really makes you get serious about a project. So if you're interested in setting that up for your own entrepreneurial endeavor or creative project, I have a link for you where you can schedule a one-on-one coaching call with me, and we can get started doing that and really turning this hobby into something maybe that you were dabbling into actually something that's real, that has legs, that people are discovering around the world. How cool would that be? I have so many examples on this podcast of people just like you who have had creative endeavors or projects or passions, and they go full time on it because of crowdfunding. That's what it unlocks, and it's so beautiful. And I think it's really an opportunity that I don't know how long this will be here. Maybe in 10 years, crowdfunding isn't here. Maybe in 15 years, we don't know. So I think you have to take advantage now. Opportunities are scarce. Every time that something new comes along, it's only there for a limited amount of time, and then things change and things shift, and it's no longer as good. There's always this honeymoon period, if you will. The link to schedule a call is crowdcrux.com/coaching. That link is crowdcrux.com/coaching. crowdcrux.com/coaching. Just go there, tell me a little bit about your project, and we can get underway, and we can really get to the crux of what is going to make this project successful for you, and also what is the roadmap, or in other words, the blueprint that you're going to have to follow in order to absolutely knock this thing out of the park. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the show. My name is Salvador Briggman. Urge you to leave an iTunes review. That would mean so much to me, man. I appreciate it, and I will see you next time.